to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE. And my next guest, he's a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, a coach, and he has a very inspiring story. I'm excited to talk to him. Welcome to the show, Drewbie Wilson. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Wise? How are you today, man? I appreciate you having me on.
Brother, you're inspiring to me because I'm someone who's at where you used to be and struggling with losing weight, and seeing your inspirational story, man. It's giving me hope that I can lose the weight as well. So, because I know how it feels to be over 300 pounds, and to see the transformation, man, is amazing. So I'm excited to talk to you and see if you can help me out, inspire me to lose this weight.
I appreciate that, man. It's been a heck of a journey. And, I think the most important thing that I've learned along the way is that success is a perspective. My version of it's going to be a little bit different than your version. Is definitely different than the version that our parents had for us. And I hope that the listener understands that when they're on their journey, you have this option and opportunity to create any life that you want. The important thing is getting clarity on what you want, and then just being stubborn and pig-headedly consistent to make sure you get that lifestyle.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So can you share your personal journey of losing 100 pounds and what motivated you to start your journey?
Yeah, so I've actually lost 100 pounds twice in my life now. The first time I was about 18, 19 years old. I was working a third shift job, had basically got to the point where I wasn't sleeping well, was eating fast food all the time, chugging down the sugary energy drinks. And I realized very quickly that I wasn't happy with who I was in the moment, right? I didn't have things in my life, the relationships. I didn't have the success. I certainly couldn't go out and do the things that I can do in my life now as far as the physical attributes. And so I made the decision to lose a lot of weight and cut out the drinks and really just focus on counting calories. And that's the basic math of, if you want to lose weight, man, you got to burn more calories than you take in. And that's the deficit is what causes the weight loss. And at a certain point, though, you still start to plateau. You go through these seasons in life. And what I ended up doing was meeting this beautiful young lady who ended up becoming my girlfriend. And you know what happens when you start getting into a relationship? You go out to eat more, you get more comfortable, you don't have to work as hard with things. And so I had gone from 315 pounds to 215 pounds when her and I got together. By the time we got married and had a son 4 years into our relationship, I had gotten back up to about 285 pounds. And very quickly realized, having a young son and a beautiful wife at the time, I didn't want to be that guy who couldn't be there for a long time. And at one point, my wife literally came to me and said, "Hey, man, I love you, but all of this isn't doing it for me, and we got to do something to figure it out." And she was not saying that she was in perfect shape either, but she just wanted to be very honest about her feelings and how it was affecting our relationship, which for me, man, it was like a gut punch, because I, again, wanted to be there for her. I had this beautiful wife. And so I decided that I was going to start waking up, getting up early, and going for a long walk every day, because I wanted to clear my mind. I wanted to just figure out how to change the decisions and the mindset patterns that I was going through. And so that's what I did. I just started walking a 5K every day, listening to podcasts like this and learning from other individuals who had taken the journey. And in doing that, led myself on a journey to where I, again, lost another 100 pounds along the way through hard work, different diet types, as far as just counting calories, macros, being focused on not eating all the garbage. But the biggest thing of all of it that helped me lose the weight and stay losing the weight was being consistent. By none. Whether I'd put in a really, really hard day or just put in a day, showing up and putting in the day made the most difference.
Okay. So what were the key lifestyle changes you made to achieve your weight loss without fad diets or drugs?
The biggest things that I started doing was waking up earlier, drinking more water, and not beating myself up when I didn't go and like kill myself in the gym. Because there were days where it was like I really didn't want to go. I wasn't feeling it. I was sick. I was, whatever excuse I wanted to make for myself. And I would still just force myself to get up and go. And by the time that I got there, started doing the first round or walking a lap or whatever it was that I had on my workout routine for that day, just showing up and being there gave me the motivation to just finish. And that was the biggest thing, because a lot of times we let our own excuses become that wall that keeps us from getting to the result we want. And by just pushing through that and showing up, that led me and gave me the ability to change a lot of things in my life, because that health side, getting the weight off and feeling better about how I looked and how I felt, having more energy, gave me confidence, which then translated into my relationships, my business, things that I was working on with my son. All of those were improved just by the consistency of deciding, hey, I'm going to show up and do this even on the days I don't feel like it.
Yeah. So how did your transformation impact your mindset and your approach to business and life?
What's that?
How did your transformation impact your mindset and your approach to business and life?
Yeah. So from a mindset perspective, losing 100 pounds, just being able to look at myself in the mirror and know I did the work to do that, that was huge for me, because it really was a confidence booster. And when your wife starts looking at you with those eyes, and other people are kind of giving you those eyes, and even when your bros are like, hey man, you're getting thick out here, looking good, there's an energy to that. It makes you feel good. And when you can translate that good feeling and that confidence into what you do on a professional standpoint, well, you start closing. Like, I'm a sales guy, so I was in sales, and that was the whole thing. Is like, if I felt more confident and I showed up on that sales call with confidence and was able to tell someone, hey, this is what you can expect, these are the things that are going to happen, here's a little bit about me, where you can now trust me to know that I'm going to show up and deliver. Because if you meet someone that's lost 100 pounds before and they legitimately done it, you're going to go, well, this guy definitely does the work. So I feel like this is someone that is probably likely that I can trust to get the result that I'm looking for, which we could spin off on that. But from a how did it affect me standpoint, it gave me so much more confidence, led me to making more money, which more money creates more opportunity, which is just a snowball effect.
Okay. What does crush the day before it crushes you mean to you? And how do you live by this motto?
Crush the day before it crushes you. That was my personal mantra. When I started the second round of weight loss, again, I was married, had a young son, had a pretty good job, was paying the bills. We had bought a house, and everything was kind of just good. And I learned quickly that good will steal from great every chance that it gets. And so crush the day before it crushes you is a mantra that I developed when I started waking up earlier and going for walks, listening to these motivational podcasts. Again, something like this, which I want to tell you how grateful I am for the opportunity to be here and to share some of my journey, because there was a podcast like this that I was listening to that helped motivate me to keep going. And one of the things I heard on there was, I think it was a Jim Rohn quote, something about either you run the day or the day runs you. And I thought that's very powerful, because if you wake up and you let social media take control, or you let some sort of toxic thing that you see on the news take over your mind, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and let the day get away from you and look up and go, shit, man, I haven't done anything positive today. I've been in a bad mood. I was arguing with people for no reason about things that like don't even directly affect me. And I thought, well, I need my own version of that. I need something that I can say to myself that I can really utilize. It really gets me motivated. And so that's where Crush the Day Before It Crushes You was born. I just started saying it to myself when I'd go out, and I'd post my little story selfie of like, hey, I'm on my workout again this morning. I'm going to go crush the day. Other people started saying it as well and using it. And I got these messages from folks that were like, hey man, I'm out here crushing my day. I appreciate you getting me excited, motivating me by posting those pictures, because to me, posting kind of a gym selfie can kind of almost be like a little, I hate to say it, douchey sometimes it feels like, because you're like, look at me, I'm so cool, I'm so cool.
Yeah,
But at the same time,
yeah.
at the same time, I've gotten so many messages from people who have said, hey, I really appreciate you posting those because it motivated me to get up and go get after it. And I always put a timestamp on there. And so, it might be somewhere between 4 and 5:30 in the morning that I'm going out to start my workout for the day. And that gets other people excited to get up. And they may not get up that early, but it reminds them, hey, the first thing I see when I get up and look at my phone is you going on a workout. And it's motivating me to get up and go do the things I know I need to do as well.
Awesome. I get up. Okay. So I get up every day at 2:00 in the morning, right? But that's because I start work at 3:45. And so, and I live in the mountains. So for me to get one, and it's not no excuse, but I don't think I want to get up at 2:00 in the morning and walk around in my community because it's pitch black. And we do have bears. And so so someone like me, I know I have to find the time later on in the day to really go out and walk. And that's something I know I need to do much more of is walking. It's definitely going out. And it's like I said, I live in the mountains. It's beautiful outside. There should be no excuses why I'm not out there enjoying the sun and walking around in my community, even after work.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of people underestimate is just how powerful a walk can be. You go walk for 15, 20 minutes and you go at a good brisk pace, you're going to burn a lot of calories. It's great for your body and your mind because that's a great time to meditate, to really think about, hey, what are the things that I really learned today? What are the things that I loved about today? And what are the lessons that I need to take away from the day, right? What are the things that I can look at and go, well, that didn't go the way that I thought it would. I need to do this differently next time. Or, hey, this went really, really well. What did I do differently that I can continue doing so that I keep getting that result? And that's one of the great things about, going on a walk is having that opportunity to really just be with yourself and with your thoughts. And really just dive into that and be deep and be introspective, because it's those hard conversations that you have with yourself that allow you to make those changes that you need to be making, that you've been making excuses for or whatever. And I know, Will, because I'm not perfect either. Like, I'd love to say that I work out every single day, 7 days a week, but I don't. There are days where I really genuinely don't feel like it and have pushed myself to such an extreme that my body was shutting down and literally saying, hey, dude, you've gone too far on the spectrum. Find that happy balance, find that medium for yourself. And that's what I always encourage everyone who's starting that journey, especially from a fitness standpoint, is find the happy medium. Don't overwhelm yourself and make a commitment to go in and doing 1,000,000 miles or all these things. Like, hey, I'm going to start with this. And once I knock that goalpost down, I can move it a little bit further and move it a little bit further. And that's how you can go from being over 300 pounds to losing the weight. I've ridden my bike 215 miles in one day. I've run a marathon. I've rode 121 miles for charity on an assault like air bike. I've done all kinds of crazy endurance races, but it all came back to committing to going that first mile, doing that walk, and then bumping it up to, a little bit more along the way.
Awesome. Okay, so how does the transition from tech support in a startup to vice president of a multi-million-dollar company happen? Does all this have to do with just your transformation and your confidence from losing the weight?
It was all a big part of it, right? So when I started my personal development journey, I was overweight. I was in a position with a company where I kind of felt like I had hit a glass ceiling. I wasn't progressing. I had gone to the owner and saying, hey, man, I want to know how I can make more money. What do I need to do? And his answer was, you just need to be patient. You got to wait 5 to 10 years. You got to just, hang out. And I thought, well, man, I don't want to wait that long. Like, looking at you as the example, unfortunately, he was a little overweight and wasn't really putting in the work. And I'm like, well, I don't want to end up there. What do I need to do differently for myself? And that's when I started the personal development journey. I started walking more. I started listening to podcasts like this. I started understanding as a sales professional, what's the next step for me in my journey so that I can continue to grow. And it was, well, I'm great at sales. How do I learn marketing so I can find more people to speak to? When I started learning marketing, it gave me a new skill set that added confidence of losing the weight and seeing the results there, gave me the discipline to keep showing up in the new marketing business that we created, which led me to an introduction at that startup in Texas, which then got me to move from Ohio to Texas. And when I moved to Texas, I was around more motivated people. I had this new opportunity. I was making more money. So it was like, well, all these things have happened. I don't want to stop doing the thing that got me here. So let's just keep that train rolling. And that's the snowball effect, right? And if you can get focused in one area and get a result, then you know you have the discipline, you have the skill set within you to go and get a similar result in a different area, whether that's in your finances or in your relationships or your health. The beautiful thing about life is that I use a quote from one of my mentors a lot. Methods are many, principles are few. Methods may vary, but principles never do. So there's a lot of ways to get different results. There's a lot of ways to make money, but at the end of the day, there's some things that you always fall back on, some consistency, some routines that are just proven to get the result. So if you know that you want to get the result, go back to the basics, start doing those first, then add on everything else, and you'll see how it scales that much faster.
Okay. So can you discuss the importance of a servant leadership and how it has influenced your career?
Service, in my opinion, is the most important part of any business, any entrepreneurship journey, and really any human's duty on this earth at this point. I mean, I don't know how religious or spiritual y'all might be, but at the end of the day, we know when we show up and we serve the people around us, it makes room for people to pour back into our cups. It leaves us the ability to know that we've done good on this earth. And God help me if this may be my last day, I get to go up there to heaven and know, hey, man, I've been doing my duty, which is service. And as a sales professional, what I learned is that when you help someone solve their problem, when you serve them a solution to the thing that's causing them strife or causing them pain, they're willing to pay you for it. And oftentimes, the bigger the problem that you solve, the more complex, the more they're going to pay you to do that thing for you. So to me, the better servant I am, the more I serve the individuals around me, the more I pour into the community with value, with wisdom, with entertainment here and there, the more I know that in the big picture, I'm just making space for people to pour back into me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I love when people just say that is when I was what was it the other day I was having a discussion with someone and we was talking about how when you're having certain conversations and you're just when that conversation is like one-sided and you're getting drained from it, it's not a great conversation. But then when you have these types of conversations where it's just the energy's flowing and you're getting your cup filled, and it's these are the conversations that this is why I do the podcast. It's to have these conversations. It's to hear these stories and get motivated and inspired, and hopefully other people as well get motivated and inspired from from your story.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is one of those things where I, again, on my journey was listening to a show like this, hearing these different clips out on YouTube and on different podcasts. And it's what helped keep me motivated. So I know that if one person hears this and they go and make a decision to do something different in their life and it allows them to get a result that they've been looking for, getting them out of the pain that they've been dealing with, I know that it was time well spent. And that's the thing that I talk about a lot in my programs and when I'm coaching with people is time is your most valuable asset. We all know how to make money. Like we can go swing a hammer, we can make a sales call, we can do the thing. It's the time and energy that we spend, who we spend it with, what we spend it on, where we spend it. We can't get those things back. And so it's really important to make sure that if we're spending some time, it's with amazing people every chance we get. And Will, you have been an amazing host. I'm like so grateful for the chance to be here and share with your audience, and that I hope that at least one person who's been here with us today, maybe you, maybe me, at the end of this call, we get to walk away with something of value and know that we get to learn and do something different and get the life that we want to live and that we deserve to live because we're here on this earth.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how do confidence and empathy play a role in your success, and how can others develop these traits?
Well, confidence, you've heard me talk about it this whole time, man, is really been important because it gives you the ability to show up and transfer energy. If you're not confident in yourself, if you're not confident in your product, your service, if you're not confident in getting what that other person is asking for, they're going to be able to tell. And, you know, in 2024, when we're recording this, and hopefully people are listening to this 30 years down the road, they'll know, hey, at the end of the day, our BS meter is through the roof. Like, we know when people are shooting us straight, and we know when they're telling us some kind of craziness. So when I think about confidence, that ability to transfer energy because your belief is so strong that you can help this person, that's very powerful. Now, the important thing is understanding that you have to empathize with people. You have to listen to them and really truly know what they're going through on a deeper level for them to be able to accept that transfer of belief and confidence. Because the worst thing you can do is come in and overtalk someone and be so confident that you can help them that you deliver them a solution that doesn't actually get them what they're looking for. Because majority of the time, people are very surface level. Unless you dig deep and build a relationship by asking questions and truly expressing and showing that you understand where someone is coming from, they're not going to be totally truthful about what they have going on. And it's important to know what's the deeper, bigger problem that you're going through versus the little thing that you're trying to see if I'm going to shoot you straight on or not.
Yeah, definitely. What strategies do you use to push yourself out of the comfort zone? Because that's something that's where a lot of people get stuck at. They get stuck in that comfort zone. They don't want to make themselves uncomfortable. What is it? What are the things you do to make yourself uncomfortable?
There's two things that I do. The first thing is I think back to a friend and mentor of mine. He asked me when I was on my journey and I was starting to learn marketing and I was making a little bit of money and I was having some success. He looked at me and he was like, "Hey, Drewbie, here's what I need to know, brother. You know, you're making a little bit of money. You've got this beautiful wife. You've got this beautiful son. What would you do if you blinked and all of a sudden you're up in heaven looking down and there's someone else living in your home, raising your son, sleeping in your bed with your wife because you didn't make the time to go and take care of yourself? You didn't make the time to go and do the workout. You didn't make the time to eat better, to make better decisions. And so now you get to sit and watch in eternity as someone else gets to live the life that you deserve to be living. How would that feel?" And that's like a huge gut punch. Like, I don't like that. And anytime I say that and I talk about it and I heard you kind of go, "Ooh," right? It's not a good feeling. And so I think about that. And then I think about, okay, well, if I know that time is limited because it's literally our most valuable asset, what is my time worth? And am I actually spending that time in the place where I'm generating the most return on that investment? Because I can't get more of this resource. So if I'm going to spend it, I need to be smart about it. And the one thing people aren't doing is operating as if they know what their time is truly worth. There's always I'll get to that later. I'll do that thing when. I'll go get the car. I'll go get the house. I'll go on the vacation when. But the problem is we're not promised that time. And if you're not operating your life and spending your time in a way that you know creates a trackable metric and an ROI, then I'm very sorry, but you're not living your best life. And so those are the things that I think about when it comes to how do you go about and how do you think about creating that? It's those two questions. How would you feel if you had to watch forever while someone else got to live the life that you deserve to live? And what is your time worth and where are you spending it?
So how do you balance your personal and professional life, especially being a husband and a father?
Yep. So that is a strategy I call the 4 6s. If we look at time, and we can all agree that there's essentially 24 hours in a day, right? Like that's kind of just the overall consensus. To me, there's a couple areas of life that are very important. 4 of them, as a matter of fact. Number 1 is sleep. Because at the end of the day, if you've ever been on a bender, if you've ever stayed up too late playing video games, you realize the next day, the next couple of days, you do not operate at peak capacity. So you got to sleep. So that's number 1 thing that's most important every day. It's also something that we spend legitimately like a third of our lives doing. Next, we have our family and our relationships. The majority of entrepreneurs, business owners, people that I've met, the reason their why is their legacy. They're trying to create something for their family or the people that they care about. And I absolutely love that. I think that's amazing. That's one of my big things is, again, I have a beautiful wife and a son and people that care about me that I want to take care of. Then we have our business, because all of us realize we have to go and make money. The majority of us don't have FU money where we can just do what we want, when we want, wherever we want, however we want to do it. So we got to go work. We got to make money. Mm-hmm. That's the tool that we use to go and get the time back that we want to spend with the people that we care about or on the things that matter to us. And then the last thing is ourselves, our hygiene, our health, our wellness, our mindset. It's funny, we say that we're going out and we're doing all of these things for everybody else, but what's the first thing they tell you when you get on an airplane? You have to put your own oxygen mask on first, or you're going to be, or you're going to be a burden to everyone else. So if you're not putting yourself first in the sense of your health, your wellness, your mindset, and knowing that you're showing up as the best version of you, how can you go out and promise that to anyone else? How can you promise your family that they're giving them your all if you're putting yourself last? You're not getting enough sleep. You're not eating right. You're not working out and getting that extra energy that you truly need to go and be that person that you were put on this planet to be. And so if you think about it, all right, 24 hours in a day, 4 areas of life that matter. Basic math says 4 times 6 is 24. So if you spend 6 hours on sleep, 6 hours on you, 6 hours on your family, and 6 hours on your business, you're essentially living a balanced life. And here's what's really cool about this, Wise, is that if you've ever spent 6 hours on a project that you really care about, you can get a lot done. You can do a lot of cool stuff in 6 hours. If you've ever spent 6 hours in bed with someone that you really like spending time with, that's a long time. What do you do with the extra 5 hours and 58 minutes? Right? Like, let's be honest. So my theory is that if you just go into every day and think, all right, well, I'm going to make sure I spend 6 solid hours on me. I'm going to spend 6 hours on my family and 6 hours on my business. Well, that intentionality is now going to lead you to getting more of the things that you want in each of those areas. Because you know, hey, it's like Tetris. You look at the calendar and you go, okay, for this hour, family time. For this hour, my time. For this 3-hour block, that's business time. Then I'm going to take some me time. Then I'm going to take some more business time. Then I'm going to take some me time and family time, right? You can build it out however you want to build it. And just know that if you're spending an equal amount of time in these areas, you're going to end up having a balanced life and also getting to enjoy more of it because of the intentionality of when you're in that time with your family, you can feel confident knowing this is family time. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't need to worry about all the other stuff. I'll get to that when I get to that, when it's time for those things.
Okay. So how do you handle setbacks and failures, and what do you learn from them?
I, like all people, hate a setback. I hate a failure. It bothers me. It makes me sad. I get bummed out. I get angry. I go through all the emotions. And then I like to sit back and go, okay, I've gone through all the things. Now, what's the lesson that I truly need to learn here? Because if whatever I just did didn't get me the result that I was looking for, what do I need to learn from this? It's not a loss. It's always a lesson. But it's the objectability of being able to go back and say, okay, what did I do wrong? Here's all the things I did right. That's fantastic. Like, cool. We're pat yourself on the back. You did things right. That's great. But what did you do wrong? Or what was it that caused the result? Where can we learn from that? Because maybe you didn't do anything wrong. maybe the process was right, but what you realize is that you had the wrong person on the other end of the conversation, maybe the wrong person in the other side of the relationship. And so now you start understanding the dynamics of the entire thing versus just the like, no, it was them, or this thing was broken. You can really start to pinpoint where the process fell apart. And that's one of the things that I love about, the 4 6s and the time audit is like, hey, if I'm not actively spending time in these areas, it's easy to see why something could be breaking. It's easy to see if I'm not spending time with my family and all my time's in my business or on me, why they may feel a little bit distant or why they may think that I'm selfish. But if I know I'm spending all of my time on me and all of my time with my family and none of my time in my business, well, it's going to make sense why my bank account's not as big as I want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. What role does integrity play in your life and business, and why is it important?
One more time.
What role does integrity play in your life and business, and why is it important?
Integrity is one of those things that you really only know when it's you in the dark by yourself. Integrity is something that's very self-regulating, and I think the problem is a lot of people talk about integrity publicly, and at the end of the day, anyone who has to scream about integrity all the time is someone who probably has some lack of it in their life in certain areas. May not be all of them, and it may not be terrible, but there's probably something that they've got going on that they're not being 100% truthful on. And even myself, man, like, I know integrity is super important. Being honest, having the confidence and the ability to trust others, like, that's everything. But there are certain parts of my life, certain seasons where it's like I'm not in total alignment. I'm not in total integrity with myself. And so it's that recognition of being able to pinpoint that and say, well, okay, hold on. If you say one thing, you got to do one thing. You can't say one thing and do the opposite. And so having a meter of where you are at on that scale of integrity is important, because there are times in our own lives where, like for me, we talk about fitness. So like, hey man, I know right now I could probably be doing more in my fitness journey and getting more of the result that I ultimately want, but I'm making decisions to say, well, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm just going to go walk and wear my vest today. Like, that's a choice that I'm making. Now, from an integrity standpoint with the world, I'm working out every day and I'm doing the thing that I say I'm doing. But internally, am I doing it to the level that I know I could be doing? That's the big thing about integrity. And that's where I think it's that sliding scale where it's really affecting the person based on how important it is to them.
Okay. So what's next for you on your journey, and what new challenges or goals are you excited to tackle?
So my family and I, we sold our house in Texas about a month ago, 2 months ago now. We moved into a 42-foot fifth wheel RV, and we are going to be traveling the country for the next couple of years as we build our Call the Damn Leads business, and we work with other sales professionals and business owners to get scaled up and make more sales so they can have more time to live the life they want to live. And, it's a challenge. We went from a 2,000 square foot house to a, 250 square foot RV. And when you're this on top of everybody and you're doing podcasts from the road with Starlink internet, and there's always little things that we're learning about. But the beautiful part of it is we get to experience something that a lot of individuals who I talk to about this journey tell me, hey man, that's the dream. That's the goals. That's the thing I'd love to do someday. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's one more continuance and realization of you can live any life that you want to live if you're willing to do the work and be committed to doing what's necessary to make it happen. And so it's fun and it's a challenge, and I get to share that with my community and with amazing listeners and, audiences like this and with hosts like yourself. Why? Is because at some point I'm trying to motivate someone to go and do cool things and live their life. And if this is one story that helps them do that, I get to go and live it and be an experience and use it as a benefit for me and my family, and also inspire someone else to do it. And so that's one of the greatest things about this journey is all those challenges that I'm facing. I then get to go and share those with others so that they can compress time and get to go through it faster, because I've already learned through it and shared it with them so they don't have to waste as much time on it.
Amazing. Awesome, man. Awesome. Now it's time where you get the solo screen, brother, and you plug away, let everybody know where they can find you, websites, everything.
Hey, well, again, my name is Drewbie Wilson. I am the owner of Call the Damn Leads. I wrote this wonderful book. If you are a sales professional or an entrepreneur and you're looking for some ways to dial in and grow your business, get your time back to live the life that you want to live, I'd love to see and work with you. Go and download the book. It's a free copy. callthedamnleads.com/free book offer. Check it out. Come find me on social media. More than anything, if you got some kind of value out of this show, I need one favor, and that's that you go and hit subscribe, you follow Wise, you share this with someone out there, you tell people, because the only way we get to truly embrace the time and energy that we pour into something like this is if we get to know it's helping other people. So if you've got something from this, hit subscribe, share it on social media, then go download my book and let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. And I just want you guys to know how grateful I've been for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, brother, man. I appreciate you telling to subscribe and go out and download the book, everybody. If you catch the replay, check it out. Go to his website, get the book. I appreciate you. Like I said, you've inspired me. So for someone who's over 300 pounds and struggling with losing the weight, and I never looked at it as when you talk about the 666 the 6 hours. I never thought about it that way. I never thought about 6 hours here, 6 hours, and that works. That works, man. It kind of. I'm definitely gonna get the book. Definitely gonna reach out to you and keep in touch with you because, like I said, you really inspired me to. I know I need to change. I know I need to personally lose the weight, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but having heard your story and looking at how all the energy you have and just the vibe and the energy you give off, brother, man, it's really inspirational to someone like me.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. And anything you guys need, you know where to find me. Come holler at me. I will be more than happy to share anything I can along the way. And I look forward to connecting with you more on the back end, man. There's a lot of good things that we can do, and I hope that I can help you take your journey to that next level too.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Don't leave just yet. Let me chat with you off the air a little bit. But let me just close out the show right quick. But once again, brother, thank you.
Yep.
You have an amazing story. I'm excited for you for the road trips and traveling. That's something that's a lot of people talk about and just don't get to do it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on your journey and you driving around and where you're going to be at from. Where are you at right now?
We are currently stationed in Wauseon, Ohio. We left Texas about a month ago. We hit Arkansas, Nashville. Now we're up in Ohio for a little bit, and then we'll be heading down the East Coast this fall.
Oh, man, if you come to Pennsylvania, let me know.
We are headed that way. My son wants to see the Liberty Bell, so we're going to stop up in Pittsburgh
Philly?
For a little bit, and then we're headed over to Philly.
Awesome, man. That's definitely, yeah, man. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in the Pocono Mountains, but yeah, brother, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep inspiring people, and I greatly appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thank you, brother. Well, I'm sure we'll be chatting more. Have a great day.
Yeah, don't leave just yet. Hold on. All right, another great show is in the books. Thank you, Drewbie Wilson, for coming through and sharing your story. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody in the chat, Snowman Multimedia, Miriam Khaled, and Captain Birdseye. Picture me and Drewbie. Okay. I will leave that comment alone. But big shout out to everybody who stopped by and left a comment. Shout out to my Real Wise fan, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. As always, a big shout out to the boss lady. Appreciate you. See you soon, babe. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know your boy Wise does it. Peace out.